I've been reading some of the latest data that's come out from CoreLogic. So their June data has been released, and there's some interesting tidbits in there. In fact, a lot of this will ring true in terms of what was mentioned from the stage at the actual summit itself. But if you weren't at the summit, then listen up for what's going on. So first thing is the median house price nationally has increased by 8% over the last 12 months. There are 4 markets that are now at their peak, and this was the conversation from the summit stage. So that's Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide and Perth. They're the 4 markets that are at their peak, right? And they're still rising. But there's also 4 markets that are lower. Their peak is lower than where they're at now. So what does that mean? So Melbourne peaked in March of 2022, and it's still 3.9% below the last peak. The next one is Hobart. So Hobart is 11.7% below the peak, and it reached that peak on March 2022, right? Canberra is also 5.4% below its last peak, and it reached that peak on May of 2022. But the really interesting one, guys, is Darwin. Listen to this. Darwin is 5.7% below its last peak, and that peak was reached in May of 2014. So not all property markets are created equal, guys. May 2014, that's 10 years ago. Over 10 years ago is when Darwin saw its last peak. That is crazy town. So we're talking capital cities, but let's have a look at what's happening at a local level. The best performing locations in your city. Well, listen up. If you're in Sydney, the #1 performing location is actually Mount Druitt. So Mount Druitt has gone up. The annual change is 13.96%. So every bit of 14%, guys. So what that tells us is we are in an affordability-driven boom. Next on the list is Fairfield at 13.89%. And then we drop down to Liverpool. Liverpool's up 10.1%. Campbelltown is up 10.07%, right? And St. Mary's is up 9.39%. So what we're seeing in the Sydney market is an affordability-driven boom. And I've been saying this. I've said it from the stage. I've said it in meetings and conversations with you. I've said it on group discussions, guys. We are in an affordability-driven boom. Why? Because students' borrowing capacities are being hammered, guys, and that is universal. So people are looking for value. That's exactly what we're doing. And we have a number of students now that are working with PA Realty within a buyer's agent's capacity to find them properties in those exact locations. So that's definitely a trend that we're seeing. Let's have a look at Brisbane. So all you Queenslanders, all you Maroon supporters, let's have a look what's happening in your market. So Springwood Kingston is up 25.55%. Guys, these percentages that I'm talking about is in the last 12 months. #1 performing location. Next one, Logan Lee Cranbrook, up 21.51%. Forest Lake, 21.48%. Beenleigh, 19.33%. Actually had a conversation with a student last week, and they've just built in Beenleigh. Brown Plains, 19.19%. Ipswich Inner is up 19%. So understand this, guys. We are in an affordability-driven boom, and this was the pain that I've watched. I've watched students say, and I showed this exact example from the stage at the summit where students had gone, oh, I'm not sure, and then yes, I'm in, no, I'm out, yes, I'm in, no, I'm out, and now they can't afford to buy in that area. Listen up, guys. If you're not decisive in your decision making around property, not only will you not be able to afford where you want to live, you won't be able to afford where you don't want to live. That's what's coming next, right? Let's have a look at Melbourne. Moreland North, 4.71%. Kingston, 4.47%. These are the best performing markets in Melbourne in the last 12 months. 4% growth, guys. Whereas if you compare that to Sydney or to Brisbane, you're seeing 13s, 14s and 22s, right? And then if you jump across to Perth, Kwinana has gone up by 33.19%. So guys, property selection is mission critical, right? How do you successfully accomplish your property selection? You nail your strategy first, then you nail your location, then you nail the property selection. And people get those mixed up, right? And remember, we talked about our triangle of choice, baby. When you are limited by funds and you don't have the money to afford exactly what you want to buy, there are three options that you need to choose from. You need to choose area, you need to choose price, and you need to choose property. But when you don't have enough money, you only get two of the three. And those two is what drives indecision within the student base, because people struggle to make decisions when they can't have exactly what they want. But here's what you don't understand: buying what you don't want is going to get you to what you do want. That's right, that's the tmap 2-step, baby.